Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now today, I've got another Mars UFO video for you. This will be fairly short. I'll try and keep it reasonably short. But this is insane. And if you thought the last few things I showed were crazy, check out, if you haven't seen some of my recent Mars UFO videos, check them out. The most important one, I think, in recent years, if not of all time, is this one called Mars UFO Interceptor Drone, or Mars UFO Intercepting Rover Radio Signals. Check it out. It's got like an aerial hanging down and it looks like it's intercepting the signals from the rover as they're being sent to the satellite, which then relays them to Earth, and then we get them later, right? Us researchers get them later. So that video is one of the most important UFO videos of all time, I think. It's quite long, but this is a complex thing to explain, and I show lots of examples of things that are similar, and there's other angles of the same thing, right? So it's definitely there. I show it from the side, like we have here, and from behind as well, and they've both got this aerial thing hanging down, right? Absolutely insane. Also, check out the rod UFO. The rod UFOs are fairly common. Also, check out the new rod UFO video that I'm just about to upload now, with little ball drones coming out of it. It's like a rod. It's shaped a bit like a sort of ink pen or a sort of baseball bat. And out of one end, we have these spheres coming out. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So there's some crazy stuff going on here. And I'll be going through a lot of these Mars images that I haven't looked through before, because it's got loads of cameras. So check out this one as well, UFOs on Mars, rods, saucers, drones and streaks. That goes into sort of all the different types that I've seen. But there are more types. So some of them look like aeroplanes or winged aircraft. Some of them look like rods. Some of them are kind of orbs. Some of them are more complex shapes like this one, which are kind of like almost a bit like a helicopter or something. Really, really strange. I mean, you can't see any blades on the thing, but you probably wouldn't anyway. So there's all different types going on here, and sometimes they're white or in light mode, and sometimes they're in dark mode or black, okay? So you've got them in multiple modes and multiple shapes and sizes. So there we are. So I'm going to get on with this because this is absolutely insane, right? This blew my mind when I found this the other day. Here we are. Right, now, this is a HAZCAM, front HAZCAM image from the Curiosity rover from Sol 3282, and I found this a few days ago, right? And when I found it, I was like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on here, right? We have a winged drone. It's the same, I think it's the same one as we saw high above Gale Crater in the previous video that I just did earlier today, right? Which looks like an aeroplane or something, but it doesn't have a tail, as in a stabilizer on the tail. It's kind of like a cross shape. We're seeing it from an angle here, right? But what's crazy about this is there's another one here, This bright thing in the middle may be one, but maybe a star, or may actually be Deimos, one of Mars's moons, which is very small, okay? But they're buzzing around in the same spot. This is closer, right? The winged drone here is closer. This one is further away here, because it's fainter. This one is relatively close, but kind of seems to be buzzing off in this direction, upwards. It's got blur behind it, right? And there's something up here, like a missile shooting off, or another one of these up here, shooting off at speed, and we can see motion blur behind it here, which appears as a bunch of distortion. But that, I think, is another one, but further away, whizzing off. Now, I've looked at the shutter speed on this camera, and it's 420 milliseconds. So these images are taken with a relatively slow shutter speed, not incredibly fast. I think if it was on Earth, you would probably have it set to like 200. So when we see motion blur on these, it doesn't mean they're traveling really fast. They are traveling at speed, but they're not going stupidly fast. These things tend to hover about and move relatively slowly like some of our drones do, but they can travel quickly. And I'm trying to work out how fast some of these things are moving, and I will be doing that soon, because you can work out from the shutter speed that, that they're almost half a second, right? 420 milliseconds is almost half a second. So they're not going stupidly fast, but I think some of them are. Some of the streak ones I've shown, I think, are traveling at hundreds of miles an hour, 300-400 miles an hour, maybe more, right? But most of them aren't. Most of them are hovering or moving gradually around, right? This is part of the rover here, this thing on the right. There, I've got different clips and different text here. This is a negative, right? There it is. This is the same one that was spotted high above the crater in the previous video, and is much lower this time. This is taken from below the rover, right? This is a HAZCam, low down, underneath the rover. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, winged aircraft. 2, distant UFO. 3, closer UFO. 4, missile-UFO. White objects are stars. That's probably Deimos, and that's probably a star there. Okay? There it is again, negative. I'll flip that the other way. There's a colorized version of that, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Another version. This is negative. You can see the cross shape quite well, and this has shown up in other images and on other days. I've shown it multiple times, and I've found it in a lot more as well, and I'm sure it will keep reappearing. I think this is the same one we've seen before, right? So this looks like a dogfight or something crazy going on here, right? Why would these be so close together? It's almost like they're chasing each other. Now, is it possible that some of these drones, or one of them, is one of ours, and they're arguing with each other, let's say? Is it possible? Maybe, I don't know. But this is absolutely insane to have a whole bunch of them together like this. Here's a raw clip. This is part of the rover on the right. You can see that missile one up here. This hasn't even been brightened or anything. It's just a clip, right? There's one shooting off up there, and then we've got the main ones here in a group. And that's probably Deimos there on the left. There's the horizon. There's a different clip, another clip, real close-up clip. Now, obviously, when you zoom in, it pixelates, but you can see the shape of this thing, right? And this one. This one's doing something because it's got this weird blur around it. Like it's maneuvering or doing something, right? Look at this blur underneath. You can see it there, look. Okay, darker. Brown filter. Here is the actual main clip. This is the rover. We're looking from under the rover. This is part of the rover's arm here, I think. This is what we're looking at here on the right. And there it is. We've got a bunch of them. Now, how far away are those? I would say they're further away than this butte here. This butte is about 100 feet away. Right? 80 to 100 feet away. A bit further maybe. Around 100 feet. So these are probably about a quarter of a mile away, or something like that. Maybe half a mile away. I don't know. But the fact that we can see quite defined edges on this probably says it's more like a quarter of a mile or something like that. They're not miles and miles away. If they were, they'd appear much smaller and fainter. But this one at the bottom, I think, is further away. And maybe another winged one. But there's not enough detail. It's too far away. Okay? Here's the actual image. Here. Now, this thing on the left is in every image. HAZCAM image, right? This is a chip on the lens cover, the glass cover on the lens, right? Or plastic or whatever it is. That has been there since the rover landed. So a lot of people have made videos saying they found a UFO on Mars and show this thing. It's in every image, right? The camera was damaged when it landed, when the rover landed. So this is the actual raw image, right? We've got the wheels here, the camera's down below. This is part of the arm, I think. The Mali cam would be on this thing, part of the robotic arm. And we're looking up from almost from the ground. So this is a couple of feet off the ground, this camera. And we're looking up, and we often see the skyline from a low angle, right? There we have it. There's the butte. There's the chip on the lens cover or screen. And there is like a weird dogfight situation going on here. Winged drone or UFO with other smaller UFOs and what looks like a missile or another UFO shooting off up here, maneuvering at speed. Right? There it is. That's it. There's the closer clip. Where you can see the other part of the rover here on the left. There it is. Absolutely insane. Is this a dogfight? Why would these be so close together? Now, in a video I made a bit earlier today, I showed a rod UFO with these coming out of it. So it was like a rod shape. And he's got a bunch of these little smaller kind of orb-like drones coming out of one end. Absolutely insane. And I've also shown this. This is in dark mode at the moment, this one. This winged drone or UFO. And when you see it from other angles, it looks more like an aeroplane. But it doesn't have a stabilizer on the back like an aeroplane would, right? So it's not an aeroplane. It's similar, but it's not. Now, what's even more insane is, in the same set of images, right, I've got this. Now, let me show you the raw sequence. This is a whole set that show this thing moving around above the mountain, miles up, right? This is the first one. Can't see anything. Second image, you can see it here, just here where my cursor is. And it zooms up to there. Next image. And then it goes to the edge of the frame, okay? Let me show you the negatives of it. This might be better. There it is there. There it is again. Facing is coming in. So the first one's going up in this direction. Second one's coming down back towards where it started. And then the last one is right on the edge. So this is it, guys. This is an actual proper sequence we're seeing here. And I'm hoping in the next week or two that I'll find a longer sequence where we have like a whole set of 10 or 5 clips all together of the same thing moving around. This is the best I've found so far. And this could be animated, of course. But unfortunately, these things travel fast, and these images were taken a good 20 seconds apart, right? About 22 or 3 seconds. So it'd be better if we had some burst fire shots where we had a whole bunch taken in over sort of a few seconds or a minute or something. And then we'd be able to animate them, or I could animate them for you and actually show you movie footage, right? But this is kind of movie footage here. It's just a very low frame rate, okay? There it is. Starts at the bottom, goes up and diagonal, comes up here, so it goes round and down, and then flips back around here. So it may have gone round like this, and then up to there. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. It's hard for me to get this across because it's a long way off. This is miles away, and it's quite large, this thing. This is one of the rods, but I wonder whether this, when the more complex shaped drones or the winged aircraft that I've shown, when they're traveling fast, they just appear as a rod because of the shutter speed. The shutter speed is 420, right? Milliseconds, which means basically they don't have to be going really, really fast for you to get motion blur, right? Because they're, I wouldn't call them long exposure, but they're not short burst exposure shots. You can't tell me this is a lens flare. You can't tell me this is a rock. And NASA, get your freaking ass in gear, right? Because you're being buzzed by these on an almost daily basis in Gale Crater, and they're probably intercepting your freaking radio signals from the rover, and they're getting the information, including the X-band secret information, which is military, because there are military things on the rover, right, that we don't get to know about. It's got other instruments on there which are secret, right? So they're intercepting not only the stuff we get, but also the secret military stuff that you've got on the Curiosity rover that we don't get to see or hear about, right? This is a moving UFO above the rover in Gale Crater in sequence. And I will get more of these sequences, hopefully, in the next few weeks. Raw image, look up here, clip 1, closer again, real close up, brown filter, negative. This is the winged one here, which is the main one, and that may be what we just saw in that other sequence there, but further away, whizzing around above the mountain, miles up, right? So this thing may be quite large. It could be 50 feet, 30 feet, I don't know. This is just insane. We've got a bloody dogfight or something going on here, and there seems to be one whizzing off in that direction there as well. This blew my mind, and I still can't get my head around it properly. I'm trying to explain it in a sort of logical fashion here for you, and it's absolutely insane to see a group of them like this. This is even more insane, I would say, than the rod UFO with the little orbs or smaller drones coming out one end of it. This is absolutely unbelievable. This is Mars, right? So these probably are not ours. Most of the UFOs on Earth are aircraft that we have. A lot of them are secret aircraft, of course, that we don't know about, right? Or at least most people don't know about, right? But this is Mars. Is it possible that one of these is ours and is chasing the others, and they're having a dogfight? Is this winged one of ours? I don't think so. If it was one of ours, it would have a tail, like a stabilizer. We don't tend to make these without stabilizers on them. Even our really advanced drones tend to have stabilizers on the back. Extraterrestrial drones. This is a negative. There's a negative clip there. This is the main one I think I'll probably use on the cover. Is this evidence of war still going on Mars? We assumed it had already been wiped out, right? That it was over. Is it still going on? Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.